Hey, this is Tyler with TJX Survival. I've got Austin here today, and we're going to make some Huraches. I'm constantly doing videos where people are asking me what they are, how to make them, where you can find them. So today we're going to show you how to do that. So stay tuned. These are store-bought, if you will, Huaraches. They're made by a company called Luna, and these are the do-it-yourself version, which are just fairly simple. Actually, I don't even think these are the do-it-yourself version. These are the cheap ones. Anyway, I had them for quite a while. They work fairly well. They're kind of soft, so I've had a little bit of issues with them being really squishy. And if they're super squishy, then they don't protect very well. But when you buy these, they're shaped to a generic foot. So you're gonna have, for me at least, I need this toe spot to be back a little bit further. I need this one shifted a little bit. It's only a minute difference. So when you make them, you can see how my feet aren't shaped exactly like the generic foot. I have more of a big toe area. This is back a little bit further. And the two spots that I want this to ride are back further than where the generic ones come. Here's where mine's at, and here's where the generic one comes. So the good thing about making these from scratch is they will fit to your foot exactly, because everyone's feet are different. So what I like to do, I have these Kodiak cakes, and it's just a cardboard pancake box. You can use cereal boxes, will work really well. All you need to do is get one of those, and the reason why I suggest this over paper is paper's a little bit too flimsy, and it's hard to deal with when you're working with leather or Vibram soles or any of that other stuff. It's January and we're making sandals. Okay, so here's the thing that you need to do. Put your weight on it like you're normally standing, and you're gonna kind of see where the phalange bone stops and where the heel comes forward, right about there. That's where you're gonna wanna put a mark. And then over here, where the heel comes forward, it's kind of like there's the arc pad here, and then the heel stops right there. That's where you want your other mark. And that's where your string's gonna be. And then where your toe goes, you want it as back into the toe. You don't want to push too hard, but push back just a little bit. That way it's snug, and these 3 points will hold your foot. Okay, and then you want to make your Sharpie straight up and down. Don't put it at an angle. And just trace. And the reason that we have this straight up and down is so that it will be correct on the foot. And that gives me just a little bit more space to work with. Okay? And that's my right foot, which is a little bit bigger than my left foot. But now you can see, oh, I'm sorry, I use my right foot because it's bigger than my left foot. But now you can see where my points are, where my toes are and everything, and that's essentially that shape right there. So, and when you cut it, cut a little bit bigger, because you can always take material off, but you can't add it back. So when you cut this design, make it just like a quarter of an inch bigger when you cut it. And then this will be your pattern, and then this is your right foot, and then you flip it over, that's your left foot. You can do right foot and left foot if you want, but I've never had a problem by just making 2 right feet, essentially, unless you got really awkwardly shaped feet. So that's how you make your pattern, and then we're gonna add this to leather and a Vibram sole, and throw our 550 cord in and make our Huraches.
Hello, Austin.
Hi.
So we measured Austin's big shoes, his giant skis, and I'm just using some leather scissors to cut out his pattern. And he's going to err on the side of a little bit wider as opposed to a little bit smaller. And then once we make the sandals, we'll take off the final little chunks of rubber and stuff in order to, polish, if you will, and make it smaller.
I have traced this right here, right there, and I'm going to trace this one right there. It's really hard to see. We were having a hard time getting something to write on the Vibram rubber So I grabbed a little Sharpie that's orange. You can't see it very well. You can kind of see the line right there. You can do this with scissors. I'm going to do it with the bandsaw because it's more exact. Anyway, cut it however you want. But the thing to remember, there's my right foot, so I have to flip it over for my left foot. If you don't flip it over, it's not going to match. But with this little, what is this thing called? Pattern. Wow. With this pattern, I can flip it over, twist it around, and make it fit kind of like a puzzle, and that gives me the ability to use less space on a smaller piece of Vibram rubber. It saves you money because this stuff's like really expensive. Anyway, now we'd go cut it. The bandsaw sucks. I'm using scissors. So I thought the bandsaw would be great. I stand corrected. Don't use a bandsaw. It kind of like rolls the rubber down. These are leather cutting scissors. The line is kind of hard to see, but these leather cutting scissors work perfect for the Vibram rubber. All right, now you know. Nice tight line there. The bandsaw worked kinda, but it was rolling the rubber down in the little hole. So anyway, I'm gonna finish cutting these and then we'll go to the next step.
What you doing?
Cutting the lines that I drew with a paint marker because
Because Manly Arts and Crafts Day?
yeah.
Yeah, Mancrafts.
But the paint marker really does make a much more visible line.
Oh yeah, I think the paint marker's the way to go. I had a hard time using my Sharpie there. Pencil didn't work, a white pencil didn't work.
Yeah, the pencil didn't take to the rubber at all.
Hopefully the paint marker will come off. I'm pretty sure it will. We got some acetone if that, I don't know, acetone might melt the rubber.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, because we're cutting big, there'll be enough extra that we could probably trim the paint off.
Either that or just wear it and it'll come off.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty quickly, I'm sure.
That's why I have those. I was gonna go through them with my kids.
And I'm gonna bring her out here in a minute. She's like watching the Octonauts, but see, this is nice. Is you get this nice sharp blade like that, and it just cuts through this leather really straight and smooth. There we go. This, and then this little thing takes all these edges off.
Oh, okay.
So it cleans it up. I know. Don't ask me how I know. But this just, when you get big chunks, if you want to clean it up, get rid of that rough looking edge to it. Like that. To smoothing it up. See how it looks correct?
Yeah.
So this has got a little bit of a rougher look to it. You just grind it up really good. There's a wheel this attaches to. I'm just doing it the ghetto way.
Is that just plastic?
Yeah, it's just a nylon
Anything on it?
thing. So there you go. So it looks more correct. It's still not like super nice because it's a little raw and round, which I'm okay with. Because it's not, we're not like making a purse, we're making Huraches. There you go. So we've got the leather cut out right here. You're going to want to put the flesh side or the suede side up because that's going to give you a little bit more grip, especially when it gets wet. When these get wet, these become really, really slick. and we use some oil tan saddle leather for the feet part, and it's going to give us a pretty solid cushion, and then this tan is going to compress as we wear it for a while. So essentially what I'm going to do is either you can glue it down. I usually like to use Gorilla Glue, but I don't have any, or you can sew it. And what I'm going to use to sew is synthetic sinew. So it's basically nylon that feels and kind of functions like sinew. The reason why that's good is after I've done it, I can take a lighter and just burn this shut. So it's nylon, so it melts into a little thing and seals itself, which is really nice. Just makes it more structural integrity. So the way that we do this is I pick 4 spots like that, pound this through. Okay, you can see that I've gone through, and then I just continue and do this all the way around. And then what I'm going to do is pull out the synthetic sinew and start tying it with a couple of sail needles. I got a curved needle and a sail needle. All right. So I cut all my holes. Now what I want to do is I want to measure the distance that I'm going to need and then double that. Okay, and that's my first half. And then double it out, all the rest of it. And that's the length that I need of sinew. Cut this the right way. And then I'll take my needle, thread that puppy right there, and just give yourself a little bit of space and then run it back through that exact same string, okay? Either one of the two. Right in the middle of it, and that'll hold it nice and snug for you. I did that wrong. Gonna pull it tight once you do it. Okay, so once you've done that, that way your string's not going to keep sliding out all the time. It just will hold it for you. And then I may have to use a bigger sail needle than this one. This one's kind of small, but we'll see. I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not it's going to push through the rubber. Alright, so basically I have a needle on both sides. Now what I'm going to use to start, basically you're going to have a long string on this top that you're going to wind with itself. So let me find the middle here. Right about there's the middle. And what I'm going to do is start with the first needle. I'll just push it down. Should already have a hole in the rubber. But again, since rubber is kind of self-sealing, I don't know how well it's going to work. You can kind of see it here. Once I got that started, problem is you always pull too hard right here and break the tip of the needle off, which may be hard to do with rubber. So there's my center, and then I'll push this one back up somewhere. I guess I have to make a hole. Little chunk of leather to push it through, and then pull it from the other side. It'll help from breaking your needles. Alright, so we've got that started. And then I'm basically going to go through all this, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then I'm going to chase it with this other needle down there, up, down, up, down, up, down. So you go through it with the bottom side and then through it with the top side, and you're good to go. So I'll continue this piece. I'll trace this exact hole with the other needle. And that's how it works. Just chase itself. You can go through all the way with your first needle, and then you can put it on the other end of the string and chase it with the second needle if you want, or however you want. But that's how it's going to go through. So my friend Mikhail just showed up. Showed me how to make these little thimble dudes. All you do is measure it around your thumb and then put a grommet on the backside of it. Another one that he showed me that's really cool. It's just a circular piece of rubber. I'm sorry, a piece of leather, and then you push that through and put your finger in it. And now you've got a way to push that through. So that when I'm pushing this through, push it down. Let me do one of these at a time.
That's why they come from big.
Push that down, and then I can use that piece of leather to continue and push it through. And it just gives me a way to speediate that process a little bit. Anyway, cool little tip on making leather thimbles. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how to put these things on. We showed you guys how to make them, and it took me a few days to finish it, so this is a few days later, and this is just basically how to put them on and how to wear them, how to tie them. So the reason why these work so well is they're like super flip-flops. When this pulls, it picks the toe up. When the heel part pulls, it keeps it wrapped around your heel, okay? So what you're going to want to do, slide your foot in it to where you want it to be. Okay, let me loosen this up a little bit. So you slide your foot in it where you want it to be. Now, this is too loose. So the first thing that you'll do, and this is, you shouldn't have to do this every time you wear them. You should just have to do it once. But get this nice and snug, right across here, snug, not quite tight. If it's too tight, you'll feel it. But at the same time, this rope's going to stretch and break in just a little bit. So now when I tied it, I went towards the front so that when I pull it back, it keeps it snug. Okay, now on the other side, I just pull the slack out. Okay, so it's nice and snug. And if you don't do this, your toes are going to go off the front of the Huarache, your heel's going to slide out the back. But again, I get it nice and snug to where it starts to pull the rubber up just a little bit. And that's also important because you don't want your rope to cut if you can help it. It's going to eventually happen, but you just replace your rope. So that part is snug right there. Now the way that I tie this, it's kind of a simple pattern. I just loop it over this top part right here. Okay, and as I pull this back, that tightens this up. It tightens this up and snugs it all over. And then quite literally, I just wrap under every time I get to a new section. So I go under, and then I go under, and then I go under on this other side. And then if this is loose, I'll go under. This is pretty snug at the current moment. So what I'm going to do is just finish it off right here. And all I'm going to do is pull it tight, and then tie a little knot, and I'll usually just do a little slip knot like that. Pull it nice and snug, and you're good enough. If you got sloppy cordage, you can cut it off. I cut off a section about that long from the final product, but you're good to go. Now, if it's snug enough, you see when I step down, it's snug. When I pull my feet up, it picks up with it, just with my toes, okay? So even as my toes move, it pulls it up. And if you look on the side, as I pick my feet up, this curls up like my feet do. This curls up because it's pulling on it. When I put it down, it lays it flat. And that's why we want these Huraches, is because they replicate our feet. They work just like our feet do. When I pick my heel up, it shapes like my feet. Put my heel down, pick my toes up, pick my foot up, the inside of the foot, the outside of the foot, and no matter what I do, however I grab this, it's gonna feel like my feet, essentially. So this gives me the ability to basically go completely barefoot with a little bit of mobile ground strapped to my foot so that I don't step on the thorns. And that is how you tie Huraches. All right, so when you're done wearing these for the day, you don't have to undo the knot. You can do a semi-permanent knot instead of a slip knot. I like the slip knot because I'll readjust the tension. But all that you do with this is just push that down the back of your heel, okay? And then slide your feet out. And that way, if you want to put your feet back in it, you just put your feet in and pull it up the heel. And I wear them fairly snug, so it's a bit of a snug pull, but that way you can just slip them on and slip them off every day, and you don't have to worry about it. And even with the slip knot, if you tie it like this and you slip them back on, all you have to do is snug that slip knot up again, and you're good to go. That way you don't have to spend so much time tying and untying your Huraches.